We are the biggest, we are the largest, we are the greatest, we are the highest, we are the tallest African spiritual platform. We are Revelations, your show, my show, and the show of the world. I welcome you. It's another day. It's going to be a great episode. As for my name, you know that. Call me Empress Makida, call me Jezebel, call me Queen Hadasha, call me Labraska, call me Lucifer. I just say, Dini, the older, the upper be at the frame. Just tea as someone emame keke. We are Revelations. The people are called the Pearls and Yansafo, and the platform is called Consciousness Family. I welcome you. And then they did kind our platform is so me mo akwa abakese pa ahobrase mo akonya tenase na sua de because I had the consciousness and African liberation is what we are holding. Ye de kososo. Ni make sure say they pese ye hunu ye de ni mo akwa abawate. Let's welcome our guest for today. He's a father. Or when until another day, betin say baby son questions no so intimi bisa no. Inyam panimfo ni say na na asafafa ho. E baby son. Let's welcome Reverend Dr. Godwin P. Davids. Papa ya mo akwa abakese pa.
Thank you, man.
Yo, and then e dey kan.
Okay.
Enti wo bechi ahwefo no wa mamamo. So ma hwe so ya ma show na ye kese.
Okay.
Now we introduce you who actually and say we are Jesus, so we are Muhammad. Yeah, they are ready for anything.
Okay.
Now I introduce you who are the actually. Oh, what the phobia? Bakum you no be a person which ya. Akwenya oho. Obetimi acknowledge you na watch ya omo. And some about question nankas topic nankasa so.
Okay. That's it. Na me chia obia said you okay no. Most Reverend Godwin Davids is my name, and me Vicar General. Of World Council of Apostles and Clergy all over the world. We do events all over the world, but especially in South Africa. And I'm also the Executive Director of International Institute for Governance and Development. And it is mainly focused on leadership. And because as a religious person, I've been listening to Maame Grace program. Very insightful, very deep, very profound, you know. Having been given this opportunity, I decided to come here and also contribute my quota, the little that I know, the little that I have, as we progress in the journey of life. So thank you for inviting me, and God richly bless you.
Yo, I welcome you.
Thank you, ma'am.
With two positions, no catch them and one random to be fiaba. Two positions, 19 now, man for 20. Now, to me,
a religious program. And you know what, the World Council for Apostles and Bishops.
And now we are paying. And as a second one, so you're
International Institute for Governance and Development.
That's also political side.
Oh, when you're political,
leaders.
It's leadership. Oh no, all it spreads across. I mean, the focus is on leadership, effective and competent leadership.
Ningina si utiriso. Dia okay na kokromoti akase mienu. Nti so we answer questions.
Me answer. Na me ado.
Abusia. Let's welcome him again. I am the position me questions ma this one be free me so. That dey mo akwa abakase pa. We appreciate your presence. Honestly, say friend mo amu fifi chichi na mo be say mo time ni na wa so many. Me da se pa na mo akwa abakase.
Thank you.
Enti sesi no daddy, mo ye Reverend Sanso Doctor. Doctor na ebi no mu gu amanfo o ye doctor o ni hwe cross o doctor na ye doctor be me ehu ahaban ana book.
Theology, but Obekano, philosophy of theology. So I would call myself a student of philosophy.
Okay.
But sometimes, you know, I mean, person me can't too much because of normal mitimi continue. Any normal metiasia mitimi continue. I'm science of one, so because me a philosopher. As we go on, metiasia because one day so philosopher and this Beka.
Okay. Nti na wo de wa gba good e fa post ni nti o be so da ni Jesus oni post bi aso na emu
me de won see kakra.
Okay, wo de won here no problems. Say based on your intro, we want to know the kind of reverend you are. Also for ben na wo ye. Also for ben potin na wo ye.
Oh, me how do I even describe me? Started as a Pentecostal minister, but and then as we say now, charismatics. But you see, there's an overlap. Pentecostalism, you know, sometimes people try to give a strict definition and put each into a different jacket.
But it's the same thing.
It's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing. We started from the Pentecostal era, and we evolved into charismatism. Mainly, I would say, the Pentecostals focused more on, in quote again, spiritual things, and our charismatics, we focused more on, material things like prosperity, those areas, financial blessings, and all those things. And, initially, there was a wedge, there was a divide between Pentecostals felt that charismatics are backsliding Christians or Christians that have embraced too much of the world. But as they began to understand, material prosperity and progress in life is relevant, basically, Maame Grace, Ghana Pentecostal Council. And they say your friend Ghana Pentecostal Council. Your friend Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council.
Really?
Yes. Into a GPCC. First name GPC. It's a Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council. Into nina here back.
It was inevitable.
It was inevitable.
And they are very smooth because consciousness is also kind of more added scene back on.
No, but you see, consciousness, it has always been part of us. Maame Grace, it has always been part of us. One of the things I wanted to remove consciousness, and because of content creation, a lot of people have come out these days or more say certain things. About religion and Christianity. So we have this huge group and common sense, and I like the brother who started it. I think I listened to him a lot for the purposes of our discussion. Yeah, me catch a man for say no be antimase. Say me a Christonia, me ji Bible deepa, but me a Christonia between me any atheist and an agnostic and a doubter, somebody who doesn't believe in the Bible. The things we agree on is 90%. Into 10% now can hold a difference, It's a idea you can make us a medium and I challenge you because at the end I can that.
Which is always normal. About time back home baby do no be one it's normal. Until say, oh yeah, dear Ben, so for yeah, yes, mojani, yes, so for do you believe in heaven? We want to know.
I believe in Jesus Christ and all that he stands for. And definitely I would have to believe in heaven. I do.
So what is your concept of heaven?
My concept of heaven.
Ebi say, a srube pie, ne we are for no. If you move, na besi yen so peche, na pacha abone for ne woman, me count.
No, say.
Ebi so say rapture shim ne yeko. So what you baby opposition way, me egu ne wum.
Oh, say, you see, we are evolving. And as time goes on, yet no more be say. American preacher be a friend Benhin, or say heaven is a planet. I don't know. So what I say, and I recently US for one and I'm cramming you because US for them very, very skeptical about most of the things they come out with. It's always a plan or a foundation to come out with their own agenda. But most of them
aliens.
Aliens.
Now America for Krabisa is into Amunya Day.
But doesn't mean that deny the fact that there's existence of
aliens
or not. I won't use the word aliens. Entities outside our physical, I wouldn't want to believe say occupy this universe. I mean, I find it hard to believe. Who, for instance, who are angels, who are angelic bodies, where did they come from? People have encountered people even in the Bible and in modern times. It's not part of this earth. So definitely I want to believe, say, there are people outside our scope, our sphere, that is within our planet. There are people within the universe, other bodies, wherever they are. And the idea, because me Christians, we are limited to what we read and know in the Bible. But as time, and I'm just, we are evolving, we are understanding things more. And they say, as I said, the Bible, canon. Because me catch some of the things I would say are very controversial. Me catch will be say, and by God's grace, it took kakra. And me catch will be say, uko Arab countries, they said Dubai and Qatar. Bible now, you can't revelation now you describe the Bible. It's almost like that is what you are seeing. Dubai, it's almost like that is what you are seeing that the Bible describes. I mean, in extraordinary terms. I mean, it's beyond human imagination. Beyond, I mean, it's mind-boggling. It's awesome. It's amazing. I say, we don't know whether say the Bible can. Maybe I would move into that. Say Elon Musk or Musk, why space programmer, and then I'm casting atheists or non-religious people because they have a lot to offer. One guy, friend Neil deGrasse Tyson, is a physicist, a black physicist. So they are talking about, with years to come, we don't know whether we can be able to develop mass sufficiently for us, for it to sustain life. So you need,
Enyama bebrebe
enyama betime si, and after we die na nka sese nka ye nananom mba e no nka betima ka chom se nne uso phone mu bibia wiase bibia wo phone so it took me some time to come to grips with the changes in the world, because me ka say enkwara no wo hwe TV wo hwe ball 2 weeks ago when you are privileged, say Manchester United and now Liverpool ball in there
life
your time no won hwe into na say no metimi hwe ball na babusa say because me say ye ball in there menya wura eyi ho mo na TV ne na busa me ba ni say is this match I said, Daddy, it's live. They've written live. Can't you see? Because just we are not the same, mommy. So your time, no. Usually 3 days time, Kurana, you are privileged. Into no, we are no samba. It's things are changing. Things are transforming at a pace that is beyond our ability to imagine or comprehend. Into no, second question now, Busame, no. I believe in the Bible, and let me also add, was a Paul can be. Now I say this is my 1 Corinthians chapter 15 or can be when he's talking about resurrections, or say if it is in this life only we have hope, then we have of all creation, I'm paraphrasing, the most miserable. So we are saying no near just will be seeing because we are saying no near, so there is the hope for a brighter and a better future. Maybe, just maybe, again, just maybe, and to some extent. Just maybe, and just maybe with that heaven, that resurrection we are talking about, maybe we'll be reincarnated into a better life in a better, different world or a different universe. Maybe that is what it meant. Because Bible found they were limited in their vocabulary and understanding. Because Bible, no what's Bible, na nipano, ebia spaceship never far Elijah. So what must be say? Chariots and horses. Oshé whom I was describing things that were moving in the skies with bright lights. People said they are airplanes, they are fighter jets and everything. Into vocabulary or your understanding would limit your ability to graphically and vividly describe a phenomenon. Into a bit more say Bible mono. No man or more can obi say what's a revelation. You say us 2 witnesses, and they were killed in Jerusalem, and the whole world saw it. That is satellite, and that is internet. So what must say? But on one team can say internet and our satellite.
Says that time no ni makasa some way that's almost so na many Jonah. E bet me abane say of Marie, but that time they don't have a name for it.
Yes.
You know, enyesi na enyesi. You are watching the biggest. You still didn't answer my question. So are you believe that heaven and here na sasi so that's
so
what is your concept of heaven?
No, but with the level of injustice, unrighteousness, well, they say life is not fair. Imbalance, with the level of imbalance in the world, there should be a place where there should be justice. There should be some amount of equal degrees of enjoyment and happiness. But maybe two way now Elon Musk with 200 billion. So what must say? Now many 1 million crown and they just say on $200 billion. We say Obika say if you pile up Elon Musk's money on top of each other, was it to take you in dollars, it will take you 132 years to finish piling them up. Of course, I'm in Ukraine, hard cash. I'm in stocks. But look at Africa for you. They say Africa, you will see, yes, you will scan it, just scan and kasa. Okay, dango tenomo. It's not just, not all is worth. Maybe only about a quarter or something, maybe in stocks. The rest is real hard cash. So that's kind of billions of dollars. And Ghana, we don't mention people have that kind of money. How struggle you be I mean that is if there's no expectation for a better life for all humanity there, then life, as Solomon said, is meaningless. And it shouldn't be. I don't believe it's completely and totally meaningless. I believe that there's something better for it's. I don't know how people describe it. The Buddhists will say, most of the atheists will say people will come back in a better form to enjoy.
So what do you believe?
That is what I'm saying, that I believe that there's a better life for humanity.
So you believe in reincarnation?
Yes, to some extent.
As a Christian?
I believe, you see, the reincarnation, I believe it in 2 ways. How I believe it's not the way the Eastern religious people or Eastern religions, it's not their concept.
What is Eastern religion?
Basically the Buddhist, the Buddhists, the Hindus, their anchor, one of their pillars of their faith is
two important questions to ask you. I wanted you to tell me your concept of heaven. I'm not getting it.
Maame, we about reincarnation, so that now because we are not going from
okay, go ahead.
Once Jesus Christ, you say has Elijah come, because the promise was that Elijah will come before the Messiah comes. Jesus Christ said, yes, John the Baptist, he came in the spirit and power of Elijah. So into manifestation, no man obey no, the Elijah be into no obi betimaba. He will come in the spirit and power of Kwame Nkrumah, of Nelson Mandela. So what must say, or scientist, he will come in the spirit and power of Albert Einstein. Into no man and yet Albert Einstein, but is a reincarnated version of Albert Einstein coming in the power of and the spirit of Albert Einstein. That's my understanding of reincarnation.
That is your reincarnation.
Yes.
Okay. Because I hope you are giving me real information without defending your position.
No, that's something. That is what I believe. So that in the Bible, they said John the Baptist came in the spirit and power of Elijah.
I understand that. So what I'm saying is, the information you are giving us now, that is real. You are not going to defend your religious belief and your position. You give us everything we want, like raw.
Oh, that is my, and I'll give you my understanding, my concept.
Okay.
My insight.
That's what I'm saying, is that you give us your insight.
Yes.
Without putting your belief and your position first. That's the question.
Oh, they are not mutually exclusive, because my belief and my religion and what I stand for. You see, that's why I draw not only inspiration, but my concepts. That is my anchor, is my foundation. I build on that. You understand? My belief, my religious position, or my religious inclinations is what I'm building on. And I cannot be divorced from it.
So if you find out something right now,
contrary to,
and it is the truth, but it is contrary to your belief and your position, what would you do? Would you swallow that to defend your position? That's what I want to know.
Oh, wow. Will you use the word truth? There's a word I don't like using. They say my truth. They say in America, it's my truth. I don't like that kind of concept. It's a neoliberal concept, which I don't buy into, because you cannot have your truth. But so what am I saying? So for the purpose of our discussion, I am here to speak my truth.
Okay.
Based on my position, my truth, my understanding of what is the truth, my understanding, mine.
I understand that perfectly. I just want to get something straight here to my people. What you are going to say, would you? Okay, so you can't say anything without your position and your belief. Should we take it like that?
I'm tied to that. I'm tied to that.
So we know where we are going. Okay, so now I'm coming to my question. This one's there now. In Africa. You are an African.
Yes,
you've been traveling by the grace of God. Do you see any problems with Africans?
I don't know whether I have to say this publicly. I wish I could have had time with you off camera. We know I had a short time, and then to say certain things profoundly that I believe. And there's a huge problem with Africa and Africans. You see, let's not sweep it under the carpet and pretend. In every society, all across the world, with no exception, Africans are at the bottom of the ladder, especially people of dark skin. Madam Fubu, a prophet, also having a because see, me catch them, and my children, very erudite, very. Sometimes they say you are extreme in these things, but I say, oh, in fact, they even use the word that you are racist, because they believe that by being honest about certain things about black people, I'm anti-black. I said no. No, I'm in tears you. My example, let's even the spiritual side. Now, atif for intimi. You see, abrofo omunchen biya. Abrofo omunchen biya. I lived with white people in America. My landlord I lived with him for he's a white person. So what am I say? We lived in the house with white people, and sometimes I sounded very smart and intelligent to them, and they looked very stupid to me. Now. Especially America. No more I be before you na abrofo see you. I'll give you one example. Abrofo mba o must say change e be before mba America. Be ni ba won timi nkok Abrofun bo no boba unchen. Blacks na we juma no. I say, hey man, can we roll this weekend?
Can we join the party?
No, can we roll this weekend?
Do you have any job? Do you have anywhere going this weekend?
Oh no, catch you. Can we roll? I want to roll with you this weekend. And not just a Friday, you know, when they call out. So what am I say? But black girls, and you come on, say, yeah, you say, what do you mean?
And then you call Chapo, say, "Uko frebe," I say, "Yenko yetu."
Ah, now no one in the casa. What you talking about? What do you mean? So what am I say? But Sana Abrofun here. But we share problems associated with indiscriminate sex, teenage pregnancy, fatherlessness, school dropout,
broken homes,
any STDs, STIs, some call it STIs. It's more prevalent among black people. Then so, Abrofun, they do it at a scale higher than our people. What is the problem? Yeah, me catch a man for say, Bibi ebe say Africa. Broniya and say, you know, I observe that. So what must say? Abrofo, they drop out of school. A lot of them, just as our people. Now, you know, the negative effect, the negative impact, no, is more on us than on them. Who told you that white? Of course, I'll talk about corruption. But who told you that white people are not corrupt? What informs what is going on in Patronia information about war here comes to Russia? No? It's all corruption. Kickbacks, the military industrial complex, you know, they want to take some money from the US cities, they cannot take them. So with this war, they can, you know, war budget cannot be scrutinized in the way that normal budgets can. So we are sending 1 billion to Ukraine, we are sending 2 billion to Ukraine. Ukraine government, no, I find a kickback, no, I send kickbacks to American, you know, multinational companies, and then where these politicians, Congress have shares in. What am I say? And I'm just spilling the beans, it's on the internet. French, I think it's a French president. He became a multi-millionaire out of the COVID. I think he's the one. Yeah, check. Most of the president, but one of the companies, you know, he bought shares, millions of shares in it. What am I saying? And you know, Abrofun, they are as corrupt as we are. But I don't know how some of these lapse in judgment or wrong choices and decisions that we make, you know, the effect on us, you know, is astronomical. It's unbelievable. So African Kasano, when I was coming here, we're driving, I was seeing your roads. There's every indication say roads in Ayeda. There's a road in front of my house. I've been telling my kids, road we are yes, but yeah. So at my you but before assembly, I think you have to have another time
for a before. And your problem is to say, Jang.
But just say you can't. What do you want to ask?
What? Tell me two strong things that when we take it out, problems to me bubu. Just two strong ones are ekita your problems na name wa fu say you try to pam problem ni be to me egu am be mu atunya escape ya balance continent no
question there. Leadership is one. You understand? Leadership is one, and it's even key and critical because and I don't know because I don't know about the time. You see, our institutions, our governance structure is seriously flawed. We need to find a way in which, well, Maame Grace, and I also say something. I have to say it's first of all, I must say this on your show that I don't believe that democracy is multi-party democracy. You know, plurality of parties and all this is pluralism, as they call it. I don't believe that. I don't believe also that democracy means one man, one vote. Because, you go vote. You vote, you know, president in 51%, as in some countries, even in Ghana, 50 point something percent. So those who didn't vote for the president are 49 point something percent. Whose president is the president? You have to agree, sir. Because 51% of the population vote to money paying. What about the desires of the other 49%? So it's not democracy. Two, even if it was 90-10% or 95-5%. So in selecting a leader, there should be a consensus building. We should develop a means through which we can arrive at our leaders, at who we choose as our leaders through consensus building.
This is serious.
Next is a consensus building. We must have a structure. a system in place where we can build consensus and agree at the end of the day that Maame Grace should become our leader or president. But saying got nice name vote because it's voting what informs even voting, even at the highest level. Universities national. University national. I wouldn't mention the name of the hall. There is one hall at Legon. I'm not mentioning any name more. I don't want to give you problems. But that hall, you dare not. You see, the hall agrees on the candidate to present. Agrees you present the candidate way. Every man, everybody, to a student would have to vote for that person. Whether penu, who say BM vote to ban now I'm vote to at least in my time in the 80s. There's somebody standing over you, even though the electoral laws don't allow you to watch over the vote. You will be a no show. Me so say that be say you be catch you. And I make catch say we am vote. Na do be call e free pond bi go no pond na we nim those days. Nim say hostile. Sa ensure no. It's over 20 years now ensure no. You free pond. I was in front of the university. I don't know whether I still there. We used to call it go no pond. You have to truck so echu akusi wo. You to atum. So what must say? You yes. So is that democracy?
Where we do this thing. Some of us do these things. Any will.
Like because not out of competence. Where first in Africa, Gaddafi assassin no. We are more inclined to vote for our tribesman. Then when after out of tribe, our friend, someone that is close to us, our neighbor, our community. So that is very, very serious. That is also key and critical. Rebecca say, oh, this person is better looking, and it's in Ghana too. There's this country. I wouldn't mention the name of the country. Can move across him. TV. And also when home for some voting. So at Maze. Say papa den home for some voting. And I'm doing him. Onim. Or say I send home for monsieur. I say men are working. So what man say, these things are there, and so democracy, in Africa, you see, and we could bear, we could subdue or our revulsion or let's say anger or dislike for people because we had little information on them. It's a minimum understanding for election. The electorate know little about me and little about you, so they make their choices, which are not well-informed choices anyway. But they will lose, because only know a lot about me, but and then we know a lot of the negatives of the other opponent. And because of those negatives, look at political campaigns. Look at the things they say. I was following Kenya's political campaign, and you end up not liking one. Kenyan cry. You end up like, this person, or you're correct. So at my even from a distance. Into Maame Grace. So that is why I wanted to say, me, to begin with, I don't believe in that pluralism and multi-party system. You see, even the actors, the principals in the multi-party space, they make sure that they divide us along ethnic lines. It's a conscious, along religious lines. They throw in there. And countries that were united, countries that people lived in harmony. With this introduction of this so-called democracy, the wedge keeps widening. The divide becomes bigger, colossal. So with time, people are become more enemies because so multi-party democracy, even Western world, because they are developed. That's why. Asia side now, especially the Arab world now, where they have agreed that they would have these monarchs who are very good people. Let's also establish that they are very good people. And they will share even the democratic side of Asia now. This acrimonious type of politics, because Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, anyhow. They are doing very well. But yet, I think we have to find a way that we will have consensus building, that we can all love who gets into power and support him. Because like the West is doing, America say, every Republican thinks Joe Biden is a demon, and every Democrat thinks Trump is a demon.
It's a competition there. Your opponent has to be a demon.
No, why should we compete?
That's the issue.
Why should we compete in order to lead people? Why should I undermine somebody? Just because of the desire.
Campaign now we wake up willingly to go and vote. I also will help a bit. because sometimes the campaign is what works on people's thinking. You get me? So nkayenjai someone amabegina obegina simpie ba akoso a no waka wasem no wakotenase obegina simpie ba akoso no waka wasem once we introduce no wakotenase no campaign.
Like,
so,
okay, what you are saying is that campaign message should be regulated. I think that's what you are saying. People say it's against free speech.
Okay.
Because campaign message, I understand what you are saying, that the kind of message content, should be regulated so that people will not, you come and talk about your policies, not undermining the other character.
Anyway, that is one. What is the second one? I asked you for 2.
Second one, Maame Grace.
No.
Oh, Maame Grace.
Me nyakura me ya show no 2 hours. Questions am pese me hima wo no.
Second one, Maame Grace.
Enya ne be ne akọ. Me bi sa odada o mo ate. Nya so mbeka sa wo na wentumi anyi no open sa.
Say mentumi anyi no.
Ai,
me second one no.
Don't disappoint me.
First one leadership.
I have so much hope in you, I swear.
Second one no. Maame Grace.
Oh.
Maame ko prepare na me beka.
When the one me heart I broken.
Okay, Maame Grace say. Maame Grace say. Yes,
what do you can try me this questions you need? What do you kakra be me fa wonkom what do you bosso joint
no can me say spiritual kakra
na poso
and one because me say spiritual kakra.
My heart is broken, my hope is dropped. I have so much hope in him.
No,
get all my answers. I say spiritual kakra. As in what? Tell us this about Jesus and the.
Oh no. It has nothing to do with Jesus. It has nothing to do. I believe that. And I come from the beginning is a dear brother na and damaging no. Bibini koya. What explains that? So there's something, and yet, and I'm not saying about that our ancestry say you know.
My
don't believe this no man. No, I don't believe them because in our ancestors na yanka Germans. Adia they started Second World War. Adia brofwa we are CBB. Those people are responsible for genocide. If you go South Africa, crowd the white population, they intentionally infected the black population with AIDS. So that's my
they say you pay the spiritual side. No, but bet me a hinting and baby upon the one and microphone. Research.
Me can make sacramentiasi. It means me could explain it, but you see the evidence, and
that we have spiritual issue.
And I'm say because a spiritual issue. I just said you can war. Sorry ni.
Deliverance.
Swat you free him. Then you the buy. Shabreben na ye the buy. We must. Where are we from? We then you the buy as is. Because you see, na minimum. As I keep on reading, first na East Africa was very resourced. Me share Dr. Biwo, South Africa years ago, or a dear Congo doctor. Me share no or say if the world is short of fresh water, DR Congo can supply the world with fresh water for the next 100 years. I said, what? Are you sure? I said, So I met somebody later, and I'm saying, oh yes, it's true. He's telling the truth. I say, with confidence, or say if there's water, in somewhere, DR Congo fresh water can supply the whole world, the entire population of the world, with fresh water for the next 100 years. He told me, a DR Congo medical doctor. But I understood him, and because he's educated, I knew what he was talking about. But the extent, just the abundance, not mentiasi. Monsieur Bossy, what? Have you been there before? Or say, he knows what he's talking about. Or say water, fresh water, DR Congo. Or say, or say abundance of lakes and water resources, rivers all over. Fresh water, DR Congo. And it's about other resources. Not my name is Mali Kran in the Jacram, means no more good. Means no more good. Because I've been there before. I see almost supply France for the light. No, I didn't know.
Into the spiritual problem near one want to me hint was small mammy, and I'm in Crawford.
And I'm simply cramming Tias.
Yan Frabba before no yan fan show, Monsanto. Yan Fraham. Yan Fraham. Why didn't someone cast us?
Sometimes I sit down and now who say me can't and I make us a man me can't. The first thing because I see my making what you to dry because a way and we use it self-hating black. Some person me expand it now me expatiate but now me see elucidate but and explain it in detail profoundly in depth. I'll end up because I'll come across and see self-hating black because me mbano minyaka I say, oh, daddy, you are a racist. Me say, can't you see? This is the evidence. Or me say, we know, we have seen it, but don't say it. Me say, can't you see? I say, my friend mom say, come, look at something. Then my from that, my cat say, What's that? Oh, say black people no more, and now black men no more, and I say at the end they see, sir. I don't understand because if you swap,
it wouldn't be like that.
Wouldn't swap not the Indians, but
honestly,
and we had the same thing under the same and I said leadership is part. I've said it, but the other in English is inexplicable because there are situations that I think so. I think say, Maame Grace, Maame Grace. I know sometimes we have tendencies, some negative tendencies, but I went to Maame, for example, Rwanda. Madame Fubiaka, and put me on record, it could be wrong. Talking about Rwanda, also Paul Kagame, I say Rwanda. Yeah, Odiema 5 years after Paul Kagame, Rwanda. And South Africa, on the 25th of December, 1 year, I think it's about, we are in 2023, so it's about 6 years ago. I had to stay in South Africa for a Christmas program. And so in the morning, early in the morning, when it's December, early in the morning, I got out of my hotel. Christmas, literally, I wept. I literally wept. I saw piles and heap of trash. Everywhere I moved, it was so quiet. It was Christmas in Naman from Belkrum, and I was walking through South Africa. Because you know why? I had been to South Africa before then. And South Africa and I wept.
The way Crawford, the way no my year hono. Now what the bedi and some the way I tiny a hono. I know.
And you know,
Matthias,
there's a man who wrote a book. Who's a airplane? That famous airport, Obelandia. Ladies and gentlemen, we have begun our descent. Ladies and gentlemen, we have begun our descent. They just say, prepare for landing. What you book was South African on the same thing. Also, we have begun our descent. So what must I say? Yes, or it's a South African. So we have begun. We are going. The slope going down. We are going downhill. When we say doom South Africa, about South Africa, now, and South Africa problem in terms of doom zone. Well, they say it's a mismanaged, blah blah blah. But they have tried. They have tried solutions. Eskom na from more competitors they will use more Eskom.
Some man say maybe some questions because honestly this thing you are talking about I also believe is something spiritual like you are saying because when you go to Cape Coast there is this dam dam na omokana dam in Suo dam
dam okay dam
the who call Cape Coast there is this dam Asebu there is this dam Abrofono slave masters ne bae no omo num nsuo ni bi na omo hu say de kakum nsuo no e na omo koye dam wo nti apparently it is the most biggest artificial dam in West Africa and omo ye na omo dey supply omo nom ni bibia omo dey bibia omo ko hwe this years ye nkofo be di omo ko no na supply Cape Coast ho nom nyina nsuo ena ensuo no kwa na ekọ from the way nkrofo no ye no we are feeding on it and we are not adding up and we are not even maintaining it. These things when you look at the motorway when you go to Meridian when you go to Harbour when you go to airport nko dey na say Mahama na be new one no or the abeboa Kolebu these places when you go there police headquarters baby a the Kwame Nkrumah no time no mo ye no eno na wo ho maintenance management ye problem nti sa e ho na mimi hu say ye was spiritual problem
na oyi unim silos
they
have been abandoned
so entina me so mpesa obeka me anye sa so our time ni nyina besa
na me ka che menti ase
unim na onka wo de ye etwa so wo de say wa kan na say wo nka nti no I don't want to waste your time and I think say we have to bring him to come and talk about these things why you ready because and that your information wo I'm being honest ope maka information wo he's just trying to massage so what can I say so say the faith in the position is part of the conversation.
Oh no, it's more about for this one it's more about my reputation.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm
not
telling
about
them.
My faith, not about my reputation.
Until the reputation can hunti or the biash and bottom or the mumi enjane sa na yeah, the topic in the moon. So I'm done with my randoms because yes, or the maybe run it around. You are watching the biggest and the largest, and you know me, I'm always the world star number 8. I am the spear of destiny. I represent African liberation and African spirituality. We are consciousness. Family individual is called the pest. The pearl individual is called the pearl. And then your topic is misconceptions about modern day Christians. That am I correct?
Yeah, especially Ghanaians.
Especially Ghanaians.
Christians.
Misconceptions about modern day Christians, especially Ghana, and as Ghanaians or Maame Africans and because Ghanaians specifically. And so that's what we are going to.
Nigerians because I am very connected to the Nigerian Christian community.
Okay, so you can add that too. Yeah. Okay, so take us through misconceptions.
We started by saying, this is the era. I think the introduction we call about this is the period. Okay, so this is I call this, and that is me. Like I said, the era of knowledge. But in that knowledge too is the era of balance. Proverbs in the Bible says that a false balance is an abomination unto the Lord. So our false balance, no skill no can. For a skill to be illegal, yes, it must be balanced. It means that when there's nothing on it, the scale, both sides should be balanced.
Balance.
And Bible says false balance is an abomination unto the Lord, which actually meant that people who cheat or are unethical in business. But for the purpose of what we are saying, even in terms of our worldview and the way we understand things, we should have a balance. Now, Osha, apart from most of us, our ideology or our principles in life, even when we disagree, they are not. Mecca said they are not intrinsically evil. It is that we are, as human, we have the tendency to be extreme. So what I say, but uti obia sem year, we say asem no kan nyanza wom. That is why in life, we go in circles and cycles. You understand? We go in circles means that ye GBB ne. But echina no we say you drop
when as you go.
You see, because maybe you don't have you are not enlightened about that or something. And at the same, we go in cycles, which is periods. At this period, you wanted this, you believe in this, you understand me. So we also change, which is change itself is inevitable. So, like I said, it's the age of knowledge because there's enormous knowledge out there. Because of that, we say a software started kicking no more beer. A man was you say a software to some extent it's true. But what is happening is that people are now bold enough to come because but said the attitude from beginning in terms of Christianity, not man for frustration and then now we are of Benibi say polygamy, there's nothing wrong with polygamy.
That keyword meals, I watched it. It's all over social media. Okay, so you it's something that is on social media, so you are not lying.
Okay. And okay, what was it? Me for a long period, I thought personally, I said, but what is wrong with polygamy? I'm not a polygamist. I never intend to be a polygamist. I'll never be a polygamist. I'm a monogamist. I'll die a monogamist. But what is wrong with when did we transition from polygamy? Because our fathers, those referred to as fathers, were all polygamy. So when was that transition from? Because you see, as somebody said, the idea of monogamy itself was a legal thing. For the West, it was a legal thing. We wouldn't go into that. There's no time for it, but it's a legal thing. So marriage itself, in the West, is more of. And which maybe I'll have to say it at another time. Marriage itself, there's a contract element in marriage. You understand me? There's a contract element. That is why Indians, up to date, our marriages are arranged. And do you know that despite the fact that Indians have got the highest in the world, among the highest, no, not the divorce, highest in terms of arranged marriages. So, but they have the lowest divorce rate in the world, 1%. A population of 1.4 billion people. 1% divorce rate. Reason because no, it's not so. Because you see, marriage is a contract. Not necessarily. You see, recently, marriage is not built on love. What is love? There's nothing like love. There's nothing like love. If there is love, the first person you fell in love with, you should have married that person. Ebanisena Oba and Abema Bediti 3, 4, 5 people. No quarry will be later. First one I won't know. You told the whole world that.
Maybe so will be or see I don't know the year rehearsals.
No, you were deceiving. There's nothing like love. There's nothing like love. My kids ask me, don't you love? I said, no, I don't. So what is there? I say it's commitment, it's loyalty, it's dedication. It's faithfulness. That is all. It's commitment, it's loyalty. I'm committed to you, I'm loyal to you, I'm faithful to you. Now as for love, it's fleeting. Because love is emotional. And those emotions are fleeting.
So this one that you are saying, you said you want to divert a little.
Yes.
That side, a little. So if this is the case, why do we tell people not to divorce or separate?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Because human beings, who said there's a certain contract element, and in every contract, if you fail to live up to your side of the contract, then we can go apart. Because if your side of the contract, for instance, if as part of the contract, the woman is supposed to make herself available for the man, and the man is also, and one of them does not fulfill that side of the contract, and is not ready to fulfill that side of the contract.
You can't split.
Yes, it means that you're not ready to live with me because it's part of it. But the reason why I brought in this element of, say, our reality, because we see Western world now, we're in a contract. Bible mono, I say the two shall be one. Now, man for now, me catch a man for almost 3 I'm saying cool. But say I can say it boldly. Me say the two shall be one, and ye be sex.
The one pet.
Oh yes, sex, and ye be yeah, the achichiri who the two shall be me. So I say, oh sorry, me could be me catch it. Near the achichiri who the two shall be one.
Them one together. One
did it together.
Hey,
I'm a tea. Sorry for being too pay. Me tea. Me pay the D and any people could do. Me wife in him. So what my
so two shall be one. Tina move. Push a bucket to the move.
Me wife indeed. I will plate. I don't do that.
Oh.
Me. So what I say? The only person I tried, Obi and say no. Onya did you be see?
But I say be some can be search.
Me no didi. Nti no even crying kofo didi. Na me sure mo cry na. Me nya no sia. Me hu nipa na so mo di fufuo bomu a. E ha me nti say me feel. So what I say? Hey, me nya no sia me ti ma fe. Nti no me ni nipa didi mbom. Last time na me ni me daughter. And I'm also that time she was young. She's now my last one. She's now 16. That me ni didi. Ye di benku. And I'm so brand indi. And ye di no. And oye nkwan mu say. Why did you do that? And why did you do that? And I say, I'm sorry, Daddy. We ended there. So what did you do? Because I gave her the privilege to you. Then just at bibinti no nkwan mu I'm saying that's the end.
What's that connection?
That's the end. You understand? The two shall be one. No. Maame Grace, and your friend is saying, well, yes, sex. You see, we have tied
people with marriage move. A being woo. No, my dear, because,
the two shall be one is sex. That's all. That's nothing else.
Hey.
You see, marriage, a contract. And that's how the world's, the Western world, that's how they see it. But, we'll talk about that in biblical. There are reasons why in biblical times where marriages, understand even our fathers, it's not a sin. When did we transitioned from David, Abraham being polygamous to insisting that people should be monogamous? And I am monogamous. I will forever be monogamous.
You've said it.
But I don't see it. And like I said, coming back to where I started from, the age of knowledge. So people are now bold to express their opinions and their positions on some of these things. For instance, now first, I even taught it that the Bible is the infallible word of God, that it's nothing can be blah 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 blah. But I told people that Hebrews chapter 11 is incomplete. Hebrews chapter 11 is incomplete. Yes, Hebrews chapter 11. He was giving a rundown about the exploits of men of faith. What about today's people? So it continues. Hebrews chapter 11, it continues. Those days, even Paul Nankasaka say, what more shall I say of this, of that, of that, of that? And I say, time will not give him permission to talk about all that, the exploits of the people of old. So what about you can say, you cannot add, you cannot this. I'm not saying that add in terms of doctrine, but I'm saying that there are certain things now, your fan say, you're sacrosanct. There's a level of flexibility in those areas. So the Bible, what is the Bible? I'll tell you, the Bible is the mind of God. Bible, no, it is the mind of God. Because Bible cry red letter edition. Say red letter edition.
Now I'm say what this is there.
And even as a diagram, because your second topic now, because I'm still on the age of knowledge. What's your second topic now? And that comes to amount for ayana almost Bible in Christianity now. most of the time, I catch a man for. I say, God forgive me if I go to heaven and I sin by saying this. Forgive me. But the Bible, in the 66 books of the Bible, I have a problem with Moses. And sometimes I have a problem with Moses.
I
have a problem
with Moses. Problem with Paul.
No, I have not Paul.
Well, because Paul problem said, with Moses is what?
No, Paul said, Paul said, not the Lord, but I.
Wanka. Nti waka no kure.
Waka no kure.
Moses waka den. O problem won hono ye den, ma yehu kakra.
You see, the law, which I don't know whether, I think Genesis does not contain, so he started from Exodus where he gave the laws, the 10 commandments, to Deuteronomy. Now me man 10%, but I say metis kura man 5%. I need 2 kura.
Oh, and yes, samba.
And no kura then nyame ka kire no. Say nyame say God said no, only 2 or 3%. The rest Moses, but Jesus can't. Some could be saying about divorce no. Or see, Moses did that because of the hardness of your heart. So why did Moses say he can give the woman a letter of divorce and just send her? Moses did that because of the hardness of the heart. And so also that Jesus Christ, because of that extreme, that is what also brought in the extreme nature of marriage. Said nobody should divorce because now also Jewish for now they divorced arbitrarily, randomly.
And how come you day?
No, because a Jew for no, and you can just divorce her for that. So Jesus said that was extreme. Then of course Jesus' recommendation to become too extreme. I think the church misunderstood. So I must say that Jesus, there was a blanket, as we used in monetarium on marriage, that nobody on divorce, that nobody had a distance to divorce. But Paul said, if Jesus and Kasaka say, if your right hand,
that
could be extrapolated.
So he coded it for them, so good. That it said you coded because of your position.
The extreme aspect, Moses, back to Moses. Moses was just writing a constitution relevant to the times and the period for the survival of the Jewish nation, the Israelites at that time. That is why they had to go to certain wars. They had to, say, dear Moses here, David yebu relevance, but David and Cousin Yamina a broke no friend about Solomon. Or say deal wisely. And Cousin Yamina catch him was to deal wisely with these people because he wanted Solomon to consolidate his position and also to deal efficiently and ruthlessly with every threat around him. That was the same thing Moses was doing. Sana echinebino na ekromo bema no omun sorry ntia Israel man enyam ne ka kire no enyam ne ka kire
because a mad omun tumi ne mema
nko they took them as their wives cry. And Osha Moses, he also told them, and Moses kept on telling them, for instance, this slavery thing, it wasn't from God. It is not the word of God. And Moses natural in the constitution. Moses natural in the constitution. That is the thought and mind of Moses. So at Mas man 10 commandments, they read all the expansion and you want to share the things that are relevant for, first of all, Moses nankasano. For his position to go unchallenged, some of the laws there were draconian to safeguard his position as the leader so that he will go unchallenged. That is why you find some of these extreme measures, extreme killings. So Moses was writing a constitution for Israel and to suit him as a leader so that he can so that he can lead them to where
the promised land.
He had a vision. Says the vision for the independence of Ghana. And Moses had a vision for his people as to where they should go because they came from somewhere. He wanted to take them out. So he had a desire. Remember, say, what you become or what you desire or aspire to be is based on your desires, your aspirations, your capacity, your knowledge.
And even where you want to go.
And he saw the affliction of the people. Said the first person now, Ojani as a refugee. He saw the people were afflicted. And he put it upon himself to liberate his people. Out, they were stubborn because they had lived a certain comfortable life in Israel.
These people, Ghana.
So at Masi. So in the Pobiacho, no man Moses Kaino should not be used against Christians.
No
man Moses Kaino should not be used against the church.
Can you
and
Can you mention or state 5 of the things he said that we are killing ourselves with power?
Oh, in terms of relationships between men and women, marriages.
Okay.
The way, women were subjugated under the law of Moses. They had no rights at all. Women's rights, that is one. Of course, today to the Western world has gone extreme. The best examples are, like I said, the Asian countries, India and others, where they are comfortable, they are given some rights, but they are also within a certain scope, within a certain context, but they have their liberty. Number 2, relationships between masters and their slaves. Slavery. Moses endorsed it. It wasn't right. 2, war of conquest. The rules of law. Say there are UN conventions against how people conduct themselves in war. So people can commit war crimes. But if it were days of Moses, Moses was guilty of a lot of war crimes. Extermination of races, total extermination of enemies. The wars were brutal. They call them holy wars. You understand me? And then the position of leaders, unquestionable authority. I believe that we should respect our leaders. We should listen to them.
Of course.
But sometimes we have also the right to make our input. And of course, the fifth one, which is very important and significant, we should look at it, because you see the laws of Moses. There are 2 components of the laws of Moses. There is the ceremonial law, and then the moral law. The moral law is timeless. It's universal. It holds true. It's not culture specific. It's not location specific. It's not geography specific. It is universal. So thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. It's universal. It's timeless. But the ceremonial laws were the laws about food and eating. Don't touch. Don't this. Those laws were, they were laws. They were hygiene laws. They were science laws. They were laws that has to do with agriculture, because there was an agrarian economy. There were laws that had to do with human relationship. Harmony. So those laws, some of those laws, for instance, menstrual laws of menstruation. As human beings evolve and develop, now we have better ways to handle menstruation. But in those times, how do we handle menstruation? Laws on shaving. Woman shaving way here does nothing to do with holiness and righteousness or your commitment to God. It was that in those days you'd stand the danger of being infections, because good. The technology was not there so that you could shave properly and shave well. Now you have that technology, so it's not necessary. The laws on the Sabbath, it's holidays, rest. It's purely holidays, it's purely rest. And the laws of on the kind of meat to eat and all those things. Now that we have developed technology to make some meat and others safe, it is unnecessary, very healthy.
Especially prakonam. It's
very healthy.
So it doesn't matter. Address this one for me. This is what they always say, and this is what made me a witch in the eyes of some people. Bible say men read it, men fe bi nka ho, men yi bi so free mu. Like don't go beyond the Bible. Like the things that I say that gave me bad names, like me talking about the pineal gland, talking about astrology, talking about the book of Enoch, talking about the book of, all these things. Okay, should we read beyond the Bible to learn, to acquire knowledge? Should we, assume our spirituality, like consciousness, should we assume them in addition to the Bible, or we should always be in the Bible? We should not go beyond it.
Sometimes some of these answers you are even asking, they are in the Bible. But you see, it's the interpretation. You see, because Paul talks about meditation. He said Paul was out of this body. He said he went to heaven. He says to the third heaven. When it's a Buddhist, for, like I said, they do meditation, transcendental meditation, they get out of their body. Sometimes to be able to connect with spirits outside you, good spirit, be able to communicate with angels. Sometimes you are there and then you see that you are communicating outside your body. So let me be honest with you, and very honest to people listening to us. I think that I won't come back to Moses. As people will think that I'm picking too much on Moses, because you see, I have a problem with Moses, and Moses became a template for, with all due respect, for even Prophet Muhammad. You understand? It became a template for Prophet Muhammad. So exactly, I could even say it's almost reincarnation in spirit and in deeds. But you see, what Moses did was that, I think, and I'm using the word I think, that in order that people won't say, yeah, now Christians for could say they are prophets today, and Muhammad said there is no prophet after him. You see, basically, you know, that statement, if Muhammad did say it, was not even for those outside the faith. It was for, he was telling his own people, so that they won't rise and challenge him. What does say? I am the only prophet.
No, that's why he didn't hand over to anybody.
Yes.
But Joshua came. God has to pick Joshua to continue. No, on person obey.
Good.
Why don't we say political party leaders in Ibi?
Since no, I know Moses no maybe because of your question now, because I say, on say or prohibiting no maybe or no sure or otimi use ya obey ben no.
And the Bible no so.
And the Bible
no be more capitalize
or prohibit because and this obey ben to send. So what must say?
You don't read Bisabi. I spoke about this astrology, the zodiac signs and how they rule, and I explained how 12 months. I explained it. Job, yes, and they came after me, and I told them it's in the Bible. It is written there, Mazzaroth. Unless you take your time to decode it, that you know that the Mazzaroth is about zodiac signs and your friend saying. Is it just Job? Job no bisa say, have you spoken to the Rihanna, right? He was talking about the.
But Joshua commanded the sun.
He commanded the sun. It's all about the zodiac sign. So before you go, you will advise the modern day Christians, and especially in Ghana.
No, but you see, it should be that area which you are talking about. It takes time to learn and understand it. So it's also be handled with care and caution. Because human beings, what was say, that's why we be some my Christian faith. You say human beings, no, we are basically, as the Bible says, flawed and sinful. The ability to understand phenomenon and to apply and to get spiritual power and ability and spiritual power that is potent can also be abused.
But you know, it's not all of us na spiritually inclined. And I'm saying, okay, inti so no be na or can you know biblically that this thing is there. But getting to it is not a chicken change. You and I know. So if you don't have and someone has and is talking about it, why do you? How if you don't have and somebody has and is giving to the people and you are restricting the person, tarnishing the person? Me, I have been called that I am tarnishing the image of God. And I'm saying enemy are powerful. Tarnishing the image of God, denche. Bele, modern wa. She what I'm saying is I want you to throw light on this. Okay, how we should actually leave people to be open to grow.
Yeah, we should be open.
Okay, because the way we see things, where you're evil, where you're fake, where you're this.
And I make actually say we have entered the age of knowledge. And you know, it will not be a problem. As my working after will be before somebody will be lauded. Just give us 2 years saying those things. They're like, hey, why are you catch you be new? So you lived ahead of your time. What must I say? So for because I say polygamy, you know. I've held that position. Those who have close to me, I've said it for a long time. I've told them that the two shall be one is about sex. I've been saying it for years, but I did not say it publicly because the time was not right to say it. So what you are saying, you lived ahead and you are living ahead of your times. Ma 2 years in
very common. Yo, so a friend will be the CDA no. Maybe a lot of questions. I think you should come back. Honestly, I think you should come back.
But before we conclude, Maminka, one of the things, because and then amount for and I agree with most of the things that they say. But you see, some of the things is a stretch. That is, they oversay some things without empirical basis. One of the things amount for can say, for instance, say, and I make us say Christians are lazy, which is not true. Misconceptions about Ghanaian Christians. We'll say the idea of application of common sense, applying common sense to Christianity. No, the other by Dr. Mensah. He started in the 90s. It was a serious movement towards application of common sense in our daily lives. All of this expression, the way you dress will determine the way you are dressed. But what happened was that within that same period, not those days, Christianity, especially charismatic Pentecostal Christians, which was limited to English-speaking folks because the center of the growth were in schools, SUs. Into a free school bar, now you are joining churches, Assemblies of God, Minnesota Bonham Church, Lighthouse, this and that and that. Then a new breed of Christians came up. They called themselves prophets. I don't want to mention names. but they pandered mostly to people spoke or used the local language, and in this sense, mostly Tree-speaking folks. And they attracted more of Tree-speaking folks to their churches. And you know that you are more inclined to superstition if you are less educated than somebody who's educated. It doesn't mean I don't believe in spiritual things, I don't believe in witches. But it's easy for somebody who is not educated to tell the person that Maame be for that person to believe. So, it gave rise to all these tendencies and strange things. There can be some just to frighten people and take their money from them and tell them stuff and things. So what am I saying? And it minimized the impact that Mensa Table was making at that time, because if you look at the trajectory and the growth of the churches now, it is the non-English speaking ones that grew massively within that period from 95 to this time. Now it has changed. Now some of the people are very educated, and some of these prophets, so they use more English, but those days they use Tree predominantly. Into Tree, the usage of Tree, the message was tailored to, you must tailor the message to meet the beliefs of the people. And now, a little bit superstitious. Into these messages, it was those days now. Around that time, they started prayer meeting, doing weekdays, blah 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 blah. And it created a conception, misconception, Christians are quadrifour among the biomoti. Sorry, them is not true. Look at the percent. If you think you can send your boys around, all the markets are full. Ashama market, Tema market, Malata market. In fact, people are selling by the roadside. It's a beehive of activity, 24 hours. Oko Kantamantu at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. You get somebody to sell to you. The place is always filled with people, and people leave homes at dawn to go and sell in the markets. If they were lazy, why would they be at the market at dawn? So people work hard. As we speak now, Oko Kanshi, Oko Makola, Oko Tudu, Oko Malata, Oko Kaneshi Market, Oko Malam Market, Oko Kaswa. The place is full of people engaged in productive activity. But the best and say, but Maame land is just a minute. The best and say, Obi call aside during the day, and I don't know what they go for. And I'm not saying that should be the norm, but I'm saying that Obu corporate formal sector. Say corporate world, say bank, say co bank, and CBG, and Greek banker, or be Jenny Juma so prayer, unko private sector, be a casa preku, zoom now. You don't find that. All these IT companies, so be a Jenny Juma, say me Jenny Juma, make up. They don't do that. They are always at work. My kids are always at work. I mean, I'm the first ones, not the ones that are still in school. They are always at work. They have never left their job to come in to go for a prayer meeting. So it's a small, tiny percentage of the population. They don't represent the entire Christian community in Ghana. Christopher Pejuma, Okomakola say ya, Pentecost for home yejuma, Assemblies for home yejuma, Apostolic for home yejuma, Presby for home, Methodist for Catholic for home, our moko juma marching. On baby fianaju, echina ombeko jumebim, obi jane juma oha, oja wonichi, ojanichi.
But at least you confirm that it's a few people, no, yes, sir.
Very few people don't represent. It doesn't represent Christianity.
But you've said you've made a profound statement that I think you should address. But our time too is up. So, but I'm going to give you that question for you to address it anyhow you can. You said one that nkrofo no mo bae no mo start chi omo na no mo kan o maame ye be form. Are you saying they are the ones that brought a bad misconception?
No, yeah, they corrupted.
Are you saying they are the ones that brought deformity to Christianity?
First, they brought energy, and you see, they roped in those that were those days. Me a young man. Now, excuse me to say, not Pentecost, they used to tree. And it was not fashionable to even attend Pentecost. My guys and Madame Vokowari, beautiful girl, extremely beautiful girl. Now, girl, look at Pentecost. And I'll never forget what she said. I didn't know. It missed I said, was it more. Mom, sorry, I must started 2-3 years ago. And I'm more there, me. Yeah, did 35 years that time. Mon China Mundi 35 years. And then, yes, in church, Pascal crashing. So what must I say? But those days now, Pentecost, you have started the PWC, it's now fashionable, people are proud, young people. But those days now, tree thing. Make I say, church be me coming body. Yeah, Sunday school, we are near because tree folks. Go upstairs, your interpreter is there. Now we share sorry can say ya na oba sorry say.
There is no two ways. There is no two ways about. There is no problem about that because the slave masters that brought to you Christianity, they came with their language, and that was what you people were using.
We were wrong then. I admit we were wrong. We limited it to educated people. So these people realized that there was a huge.
So who caused them?
Oh well.
Who caused them?
Well. No, we should have used the local language.
So
more.
Who caused the dent?
Oh, we see it was a lack of awareness.
From whose side?
From the side of those the established charismatic churches. A lack of awareness. Who started
speaking English? And
who were always speaking English. We were always speaking English.
They caused all this.
We were always speaking
You
English.
admit that. Okay, so I was going to ask you 3 questions.
Now, bro, yes, slants no can. And yet they make
some slave masters. So it's normal.
Praise the Lord.
We understand that. We understand that. And now my trims are now what so I was going to ask you that, and the second one was intinusesiano almost one almost starting here like you said now almost train yema the tree folks no ebegum almost so they whatever no abegum and Christianity abeye mockery.
And that gave rise to.
And so I'm coming to a mockery. And now, almost so static. They don't even want to grow beyond the box.
No,
so now, more starting, you know. What? Give me 3 structures. More yet to correct all the moody page and answer moody scrutinizing this whole thing because it's causing a whole lot of problems.
No, but we are saying. That's why I'm saying that these young guys all over the world, in Nigeria, I can mention names. In Nigeria, you have Daddy Freeze and all these people. I'm about to say, more attack church, you know, for the things we are doing. Maminka was apart from some sort of common sense by, you know, attacking these errors and corruption in the church, you know, was also started by a broadcaster way. Nani papa suffer. Oh. Go sinti misa KSM. Or starting kikeka. But I'm saying make say who say sometimes the time is not ripe for a message. And the boy see on my bay, I mean Bobo di on my start here. Asofu tion.
Papa.
Enti no say asofu no tio na so be kan ye de wo kan no. Na onu nim.
Oni brada na fear eja won to.
Ye nyina kan ho. So atma say. But almost no and I'm catch say almost no mako extreme because we are in the age of balance. You should not go to the extreme.
You end. Think that information no more the man ka way nipa na etie na answer.
There be almost no there is some inherent error in some of the things that they say. Mama are very basic one.
Okay.
And I don't want to mention this, but whoever said knows the person. One of the people that comes to a platform that I listen to and I respect.
Oh, can only minimum American media street.
Okay, you know Abram. Who I just say why or yard so what must say the way is able to just say a lot of things. I'm for crash tight mubium. So what must say but me no make a long ago say me sort of no use tight was first fruit no the open out the bar. Now the original the aba. And to me catch a man for say me from long before Abraham no crack say I believe in the concept of first fruit. Honestly, first fruit, which is the Bible anyway. But there's a voluntary element to it. At the same time, no percentage, obi di ma broso because a nije no deko enye so. But my member back to then I'm so more extreme no. There's a story in the Bible, and I'll end it when I come next. There's a story in the Bible. In fact, 2, Maminka 2. Oh, said Jesus parable with the parable of the wheat and the tares. That parable of the wheat and the tares, you see, what's a parable? It's just a scenario that is used to teach a moral lesson relevant for the times. What am I saying? You use a story as a scenario. Out of it, we draw lessons out of it. That story now, Jesus said, he was talking about the fact that young human beings, we don't have the right to judge and determine who is right and who is wrong. We should leave that to God. So, okay, the parable of the wheat and the tares. And was saying, a man went to sow wheat, and an enemy came to sow tares. Google. Tares is called counterfeit wheat. It has got another name. It is not distinguishable when they are young from the original wheat. Even in a Greek practice, we saw a Greek in the school or study a Greek, and we use the principles. When you find tares and wheat, you don't touch them today.
Because you want to me who na way yes
in terms of judgment, no, won't mean who men can't tell me say me papa. So what must because it started by the disciples who have been more year almost when more kind. And Jesus said, you would never know that judgment is reserved, is the prerogative of God, not human beings. And you determine whatever, but we don't determine who has a right standing with God. It doesn't mean we don't have morals and ethical standards. We do. We have constitutions. What we people breach the constitution or people do contrary to what is. But generally, no, and juma say about determine obi a nyame afre na the nyame friend, which is true. And you know, the parable of the wheat and tares was see at the end of times, at the end of the ages, on the judgment day, the master himself, because at that time you can distinguish between the wheat and the tares. So the parable was about judgment. You should reserve judgment and leave it to God.
Okay.
And tares, the enemy, because the enemy, the concept of the enemy say, the devil comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That's what the enemy does. Into the nyamia ye bi obe saying now obaso ba be saying obey in a very subtle way. Into who say we dear wheat in a very subtle manner and obey their tares. But wheat and tares, when they are young, they are indistinguishable from when they grow. The second story, was about very interesting story. One of the best stories I like in the Bible. King David, a bro, oye boniti anyameno. Anyame kache and man, the things that are going to happen to him. Well, I agree. Whether in terms of the judgment and this thing that God gave, it was not in line because David was the one who sinned, not the baby that was born. So David, of course, he punished him to an extent, but David should have been punished. That one, I leave that. I may agree or disagree with that, but that is not something I'm going to argue, or I use the word argue, contest. Sometimes I'm not going to contest. But the story says something. And Mekasim School, the reason why I want to end with this one, so that when Mekasim School, secondary school, the late moderator of the Presbyterian Church, who was also the police chaplain before he became moderator, Reverend Beku, who preached was secondary school. Very interesting message. The message, the title was, "Is the child dead?" And he used that as a refrain. O preacher Naga said, "Is the child dead?" Now, very powerful, wonderful message. Now, David, Ebra Akoranya, make us Akorani Bubunu. And now David starting payable.
Sorry, they moved.
Now, said David is a very dramatic. Some say David is very dramatic. So Philistines fortune was why David is a very dramatic, very cunning character. We'll come to biblical characters next time. So at Mercy, we hold them up as standards of high morality. They were very shrewd and cunning. Some of them, you understand. But it has to do with Jewish storytelling. I was telling you when Jewish also they have storytelling. As component of it, they have exaggerations. It's part of Jewish storytelling. But let me just finish so that I can land on this one. Into David Kobompai. Into Obompai Manibiano Sundi. The servants gave him food, he said he will not eat. But Akorano did not survive. Even if somebody wants to teach those who are against, can use the fact that God determines what he does and not prayer. Because the prayer does not, they could even use this one. So what I say, I don't use it because God knows. But I'm just saying, say, the way it was interpreted is not the best because David and servants, they were whispering among each other. Say, Akorano. Ya be na aka kire ya papa ya boss say Akorane. But they were afraid to tell David because almost say listen to what they said. They said when the child was alive he refused to eat. Now that the child is dead, what will he do to himself? He will kill himself. And you know otie no from say Akorane wu na mate de mo kan Akorane say I was bring me food to eat. So the servants were shocked. They were shocked. I said why are you shocked? I said why are you shocked? Obusan said why are you shocked? He said, when the child was alive, I did all that I did. It wasn't mourning. It's not a feeling of sadness. He was appealing to God. You understand me? Putting on sackcloth, ashes, not the drama that David, you understand me? He said, per adventure, God will look at me and answer my prayer. But if God did not answer me and the child is dead, what then I should eat because that was why I was eating. He said, listen to me, and that is where people should take another more for Christians. Or say, as for this child, he will not come back to me, but I would go and meet him. So what I say, that's a touching and moving and interesting story. Or say, so in English, resignation, resign himself to the circumstance and his fate. It has nothing to do with his lack of feeling, his wickedness, his heartlessness, or something. His fasting was predicated on something that God would listen to his prayer. God knows best not to listen.
Okay, when these people, our time is due, you have to give us your last words. But at sometimes, these people also exaggerate on all these scriptures based on what some of you preach to us. Some of you have become teen gods. They talk as if nothing, no evil can even come into their homes. You understand? So when they exaggerate like that and something happened to them, then these people also capitalize on it, and they will also say, look at how Ghanaian pastors tell us they heal every sickness, and coronavirus come and thou shalt not close my church, and you close the church, you couldn't do anything. When the president called them for a meeting, I was there. And when they asked Asofo, say, sorry, now what do you almost say they are obeying? They don't even have structures. Maka. So they say things like that to banter the people that are also crashing on them.
That's what I'm saying. It's the age of balance. It's the age of balance.
So today, advise the pastors and Christian apologists to leave me alone, your people, and then your last words to them, how they should understand how this era is going, and the time they wrote the Bible, the era and some things that they placed in that, if they should have been writing the Bible again now, it wouldn't come the same way it is. So advise them, your people, in 1 minute. Our time is gone.
Well, what I would say is that we are flesh and blood. Spirituality is relevant. Religion is relevant. At the same time, so because you are flesh and blood, giving attention to physical needs, common sense, intellectual pursuits, intellectual analysis, critical thinking of every situation and circumstance that confront us is what will lead us to progress. And yet, say so that God, by His grace, or whatever you believe in anyway. You understand me? You get, but at the same time too, we should commit ourselves to our pursuits diligently, with passion and dedication, so that individuals and as a nation, we can achieve our goals and our dreams to the glory of God.
That's
amen.
Great. That's great. Amen. Where the message to amen. Love and hate. Leave everybody in His time. He makes all things beautiful. Is that not correct? Okay. Is there any social media handles where we can find you? If some people want to ask you questions, how Papa?
Social media. You can go to www.facebook.com/World Bishops. And you can also go to www.facebook.com/Alpha Seminary.
Alpha Seminary.
Alpha Seminary. You can just, you can even type it in the Facebook search. Okay. And then World Bishops. But the full name is the World Council of Apostles and Bishops. But facebook.com/World Bishops.
Okay. So are you people still ordaining people? I million questions, but your time is far.
I am not. I
would want to see you here.
We have my subordinates have been allowed to ordain people.
Who is? I mentioned him.
One is here. Your daughter needs to ordain Baba next week. They're driving me by. It's also one of my.
Mention his name. Okay. So you don't. This man, I want to bring him here again. Your time is maybe but what I want him to come and do next time is the personalities in the Bible. I'll personally put them together for him to decode all of them. The things they said, I am massaging all the personality. My one.
Oh, me David.
The open assembly David. No trickster no answer.
Me penasem papa. No all wilderness no. David no, look at how he enhanced his capacity. David sa osi okum bear ni eyi na ability to target him no abon no akoyi na boa no, because by the time he was exposed to the world, no man no nim no. He had been exposed. He was a warrior more than those on the throne.
Okay, we dey be cast asem no, because me David dey kwan odi Mephibosheth fast no. Mephibosheth no hu propro ya ni kuro nyina ka na okọ back we hu no kware na wanhwe.
Cripple no.
The onya de ohwe from no mpo. Un say time na David ewo wilderness ho no na akwa no ko twa ntro kire ne say Mephibosheth say on ba ba bi owo bla 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 Mephibosheth the master ira osu ye Bible say ni kuro ni na okay so you know that story na say later no David hu no kware ne still la wan hwe about Mephibosheth unless we bad next time I bet your time no call but I want you to come since you love David I will put nyama David yeah allo nyama bi
oye any cry na ye human being
now I be explain. So Papa, thank you so much for coming. In fact, I appreciate you. Amen. Honestly, I do appreciate your knowledge. Thank you so much for watching Revelation. I will still bring him back. I will fish him. I make up baby or wanna my question number na you be the questions. No. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for watching. Shalom. Peace.